Knowing how to manage a renovation project is literally a superpower. Now, the methods that I'm about to show you, I've used on hundreds of flips and rental properties. I've used them on high-end customer renovations. I even used these methods on my own house, and so I know that they're gonna work for you. Now, my goal for today is for you to understand the chips that are in play when it comes to project management, so you know how to move them across the board, so you don't get duped by a contractor. So we're gonna talk about finding the right contractor, because there's different types of contractors. We're gonna talk about how to get those contractors to give you results. But first, we're gonna talk about what the essence of project management really is. And this is my version of a PERT chart. And really the way that I'm gonna teach you this, it's gonna sound a little bit weird to start, but bear with me, I promise you it's gonna blow your mind. We're gonna talk about making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's right. And I was thinking about this while I was making my kids lunch in the morning. But let's take making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So first, you gotta get the materials collected. You gotta get the bread, the peanut butter, and the jelly. Then you're gonna spread the peanut butter on both sides of the bread, despite what they might tell you. Then you gotta spread that jelly. You're gonna put it in a bag, and then we're gonna put it in the lunchbox. But wait, that's not a whole lunch, right? Next, we gotta get the material for the veggie straws. Then we're gonna take the veggie straws, we're gonna bag them up, and then they're ready to go into the lunchbox as well. And finally, gotta have some fruit to make this well-balanced meal. Gotta get that raw material together, gotta cut that fruit, because my kids can't eat whole fruit, apparently. We're gonna bag it up, we're gonna throw that in the lunchbox as well. Now, in project management, what you would call this right here is the critical path. That's the longest sequence of tasks in a project. It's gonna take you longer to do this than all this other stuff. So this here is our critical path. That means that when you're managing a project, you wanna focus more of your effort on this critical path, because if this doesn't get done, it doesn't matter how fast you get these other paths done, it's not gonna speed up the project as a whole. Now let's tie this in with the 4 different types of manager. Now, if you were gonna make your own peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you were gonna make your own veggie straw bag, and you were gonna cut your own fruit, you're gonna throw it all in the lunchbox, well, you would be a DIYer. You do all that work yourself, or you could upgrade a little bit and become a foreman, which what a foreman does is hires people underneath them, and he manages those people to do these tasks, like go get the material, spread the peanut butter, spread the jelly, put it in a bag, throw it in your lunchbox. Let's talk about this like it's a job site now. This is a kitchen remodel. You gotta put in the cabinets, then you gotta put in the countertops, then you can do the backsplash, then you can put in the appliances. Now you're ready for the next step. Maybe it's putting it on the market. But you also have to do exterior paint. You gotta go get the paint material, you gotta mask, and then you gotta paint. In conjunction with that, you have a bathroom remodel going. You're gonna put in a new tub surround, you're gonna put in a new vanity, and maybe you're gonna throw some floors in there. Once all of those things are done, you're ready to put the house on market. Now, obviously the kitchen is gonna take the longest, therefore it's critical path. It's where you wanna focus most of your attention. But instead of you personally or a crew that you're managing doing all of those things, which is obviously going to take a lot of time, might be the cheapest way to do things, you may instead say, you know what, I'm not going to make this peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm going to go buy a package of Uncrustables. I'm just going to throw it in the lunchbox myself. And instead of bagging up your own veggie straws, you just buy a bunch of pre-bagged veggie straws. You go to the store, you buy the super expensive pre-cut fruit, and you throw all that in your lunchbox and you're ready to go. Saves you lots of time. That makes you more of an MIYer, not a do-it-yourselfer, a manage-it-yourselfer. See, using our example, you're gonna hire a kitchen contractor to come in, and instead of all the tasks that make up a kitchen remodel, you're just hiring a kitchen remodeler. And then you're gonna hire an exterior painter. And then you're gonna hire a bathroom remodeler. Then you only have to manage those contractors. Or actually, let's zoom out just a little bit further. Now in the morning, when I'm getting my kids ready for school, I don't just pack lunchbox. I also have to make breakfast, gotta give them a bath, gotta pack the lunchbox, and then gotta get them dressed for school. Now I'm ready to send them off to school. Now this is zoomed out. This is the bigger picture. So if I have a lot of things going on in the morning, it'd be easier for me to just buy lunch at school and not have to pack the lunchbox myself. That way I could focus on making the breakfast, I could focus on bath time, I could focus on getting them dressed and getting them out the door. And that, folks, is being a vacationer. That's where you're gonna go out and hire a general contractor who hires all the subcontractors underneath him, and he manages all that stuff based on the specifications that you guys agreed upon. So now, instead of you packing the lunchbox or doing the renovation project, you can go focus on other things that are important to you, like maybe finding deals on houses to flip, or maybe selling houses, or maybe you're doing a renovation on your own house and you want to go focus on your job or whatever else you're doing. Maybe your hobbies. If you're a DIYer or you've graduated to being a foreman and you have people working underneath you, you're still probably going to hire certain types of subs. Maybe you don't know how to do the electrical, or you can't pull the permits to do the electrical, or maybe you don't want to do roofs. Now, if you're an MIYer, you're going to be hiring and managing all the subcontractors. And if you're a vacationer and you're just going to hire a general contractor, you still want to understand what they're doing and understand if they have a lack of efficiency in their business. That's where we really need to talk about hiring the right type of contractor. Now, there's 3 types of contractors. There's the specific job contractor. That's the type of contractor where you've probably seen billboards for roofers or an electrician or a plumber. They do one thing and one thing only. Some do a couple of things. Maybe they've grown their business a little bit and they do exteriors like siding and windows. They're still specific job contractors. Focus on that one thing. A person who does exteriors, the windows and the siding, they're not gonna do, let's say, your plumbing, because they only have the one skill. Now you have all-arounders. These are the guys that will put in the floors, they'll do the paint, they do your cabinets, they'll take out the trash if you ask them to. They do a little bit of everything. Now they're not great at any one thing. And all-arounders, actually, there's a graduation of an all-arounder, which I call the handyman. They're usually really good at each type of job. They're also really expensive, and I'm about to show you a chart here in a second. And then there's the laborer. This is somebody that you're probably gonna hire to work underneath you, or this is somebody that's out there just looking to make however many bucks an hour to do manual labor. And you'll likely have to manage this person. Now there's pros and cons to all of these, and I figured the best way to show you is a chart. You got your specific job contractors, your all-arounders, and your laborer. We're looking at the parameters of price, skills, variety, and ease. This is both ease to find and ease to manage. So a specific job contractor, their price is rated low, meaning you're gonna pay a lot for a specific job contractor usually. Their skill set is very high, but their variety is very low. Remember, they only do 1, maybe 2 different types of contracting. Ease to find is very high, meaning it's easy to find these guys, usually easy to manage them. They focus on one trade and they're really building a business around it. So a lot of these guys have their business operating well. All-arounders, they're priced really well usually. The problem is they're not very good at any one of the trades, but they do pretty much all of them. There are varying degrees. Like I said, you could graduate into handyman status where actually their price isn't great at all. Their skill set is very high and their variety is very high. They have the highest price of all of the different types of contractors typically. The ease to find these all-arounders is pretty low. You really have to work hard to find these guys, and you have to keep a pipeline to keep trying to find these guys. They usually work for a certain amount of general contractors over and over and over again. Laborers, price, best there is. They're very low price. Their skills are very low. Variety, not very much. They really don't know how to do a lot. They're great for like demos, clean outs, sometimes paint, but usually you have to show them how to do it. So you have to learn how to do those things. Ease to find, not very easy to find, not very easy to manage. Now, the important thing that you want to take away here is that there are lots of different types of contractors. And what I see a lot of people do is they think, oh, I'm hiring a contractor, and just contractor is a bucket. But you have to understand there are lots of different types of contractors that have different pros and cons, and you really need to understand what type you're hiring so you can match expectations with their expectations. Which leads me to the next thing, which is actually getting results from these guys. So let's talk about holding accountability. Now, early in my career, I got tired of getting run over by contractors, and really I got mean and pissed off about it. And I told myself that I was never gonna get taken advantage of by these guys again. And so I really became nothing more than a micromanager. I would hire these guys and I would show up to the job site pretty much every day and breathing over their shoulder, making sure they were doing things exactly like I wanted. And I got great results, I truly did. But the problem is I spent all my time on the job sites, and that didn't allow me to really grow my business or do anything else. And that's really not the position you want to be in. And even if you're a homeowner and you're trying to manage somebody that's in your house working, you are not going to make friends, which leads me to the next thing, and probably the most important piece of project management, which is relationship capital. Now, first, let me make sure you understand what I mean by relationship capital. I like to look at it like a savings account. You have a ledger. You put money into your savings account, and then sometimes you have to withdraw money from your savings account. Ultimately, if you get to zero, you're in a bad spot. You want to keep building that savings account higher and higher and higher. And it's the same thing when you're talking about relationships with people, contractors in this case. I want to keep putting deposits into the bank. I want to treat them right. I want to pay them quickly. I want to not talk down to them. I want to take the time to understand their situations and work with them. So I keep putting more and more in that emotional savings account. And what that does over time, they're going to trust you, you're going to trust them. You don't have to spend as much time micromanaging the crap out of these guys. Next, it's going to create efficiencies. Because if you work with the same contractor over and over and over, they're going to understand what you want. They're going to see your bigger picture vision more and more. And when you make mistakes in setting expectations, they'll cover the gap because they'll remember what you like. And three, you'll be their priority. If you're the one that treats them right and they like you, you like them, you're going to get put first in line in front of other customers. And number four, and maybe the most important, is it's going to preserve your bandwidth. You can't just be out there micromanaging people all day, every day. And sometimes you feel like you have to, but once you build up relationship capital and you get this trust, you're going to preserve your bandwidth. You're not going to have to spend as much time on job sites with these guys. This is how project management becomes as passive as it possibly can be. Now, the question that you have to be asking yourself is, how the heck do you hold accountability? Which you need to hold accountability, but you need to balance that with growing relationship capital. It feels like those two things don't really go together, but they do. And the key to all that is setting great expectations, painting a clear vision for what the project should be and what your expectations for that specific job or the group of jobs that you give this contractor. And what that really comes down to is making the strongest scope of work possible, the strategy for your project. I made a whole video about how you write a scope of work that sets a clear vision and expectation for everybody you're bringing on that job site. So really, you should take the time to go watch that. Thanks, guys. I'll see you soon.